What's up, RT?
You know, I'm trying to eat dinner.
I know. We're like passing
I
around
got
bags
this,
of beef jerky.
I don't know if you can see it here. Bison. Mine is sweet and savory. Bison and uncured bacon bits.
Okay, that sounds pretty good.
Oh, no, not bad. Not as
Yeah.
good as that stuff you have,
Dude,
man.
that Snake River Farms American Wagyu from Costco is awesome.
That's some of the best beef jerky I ever had.
I'm telling you, man. That's why I buy it every time I go in there. It's it's spot on.
It's real tender.
Yeah. It's like little pieces of steak.
That's what it tastes like.
Yeah.
Yeah. What How often do you eat beef jerky? Like every day? Are you eating that stuff?
No, I don't know, maybe once a week. I just keep
Yeah.
a bag in my work truck.
For when you get hangry?
Yeah.
So if you're heading home and you've
Yeah.
had a long day and you've missed lunch and
Yeah.
you don't want to walk in all grumpy asking where's food.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Keep myself out of trouble by keeping a bag of that in my truck.
Does it work for you?
No, I still say where's the food. But it tides me over till I get there.
Yeah.
So
I keep jerky in my bag for the same reason.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I
Right.
get busy, don't eat lunch,
oh yeah.
don't get dinner, and I'm like, I need to eat something.
A wife doesn't love anything more than when you walk right through the door and say, "Where's dinner?"
That's keys to a successful marriage.
Yeah, don't do that.
First thing you ask, where's dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best of luck to you.
Yeah.
So,
Good week?
yeah, great week.
Good.
Yeah. What about you?
Pretty good week.
Good.
Trying to think what I did.
Anything fun going on?
Nope.
No.
Gone from the military
Nice.
for a week or two. Week,
Yeah.
not long, just for a little bit.
Okay.
Getting ready to do some land navigation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna get lost.
It's at night
Yeah.
too. So just
Oh yeah.
come look for me.
You know those clergy collars that I got you years ago?
Yeah.
You should get some that like glow in the dark or like do infrared. That way they can find the lost pastor in the middle of the
Yeah.
woods.
Yeah, you know what? Hoping there's cell phone reception wherever I go. So
Yeah, there you go.
yeah.
Yeah, just use Google Maps. You know,
Oh yeah. You
just
know,
cheat your way through it.
land navigation's different now than
Yeah.
remember when I first went. So, almost 20 years ago, they sent us out in the woods with a compass, and
Yeah.
hey, you got to rely on this because you never know. And
Right.
now it's like, man, you have GPS everywhere.
Yeah,
So it's-
exactly.
Do you know how to use a compass? You pretty good with it?
No.
The map.
I mean, I could figure it out.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't.
I guess we won't actually.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
We
go
may
buy a
someday.
compass. Yeah.
We can just drop you off someplace and
Yeah, that'll work.
yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. So we're on episode 2 of season 6.
Yeah.
We had Seth on last week.
Yeah. That
What do you
was fun.
think?
I like him.
I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I-
Well, I wouldn't ask that because otherwise it'd be awkward. Like, I don't know. It's
yeah, I
kind
don't
of a
know
weird
about
guy.
him.
I don't.
No, I like what he's doing. I like that he's doing the t-shirt line thing. Just kind of seems like a side hustle or something he's gonna maybe tap into more in the future. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I
seems
thought.
like he's locked in pretty well at Baptist Temple and
Serving in his local church.
Yeah.
And
working
then-
there and.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of like he talked about. He's using his talents, and he knows what he's good at. He knows
Yeah.
what he enjoys doing, and he's using that to serve and to make a living.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
That's what I appreciated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's how I can serve and make a living. And
Yeah, it's like so many people just complain about their jobs all the time and don't like what they do and feel like it's dead end or that they're stuck there. And I feel like it's kind of refreshing when you get to talk to somebody like him and he's enjoying what he's doing.
Yeah.
And it's what he went to school for, and he seems all around happy with what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then he's kind of started a side thing too, because he enjoys what he does so much.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
yep.
So he's going to sponsor us this
Yeah.
season. So just keep in mind if you want to buy something on
You ready?
increasejesus.com.
Camouflage Corvettes are coming soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember I told you about that day, and you're
You-
like, I would not. He's
Yeah.
like, can I have one that's not camo?
Yeah.
He's like, I hate camouflage.
I mean, camouflage has a purpose, right? Like,
Right.
if I'm going turkey hunting, I'll
Yeah.
probably wear some camouflage.
Yeah.
I don't need some guys want it, and that's fine. I don't need my motorcycle wrapped in camouflage.
I got you. Yeah.
But you would do that, right?
Yeah.
You'd
yeah.
wrap a Harley in
Yeah,
camouflage.
whatever.
And
Yep. Some
Yeah.
of us love it.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, if it's your trucker hat you have going on there.
You like this, don't you?
I think it works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you got to be a certain kind of person or a certain
Yeah.
style to wear a trucker hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with the braided rope on it from
The-
1984.
it's actually a pretty cool hat.
I know. I like it.
I do too.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into some stuff.
What are we talking about today?
So I read this article a while back, and I kind of tucked it away to talk
Yeah?
to you about sometime.
Was it any good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Do you want to open it? Can you pull up the Bible app?
Yeah, I got you.
1 Samuel 25. I haven't read through this in a long time.
That's
I
good.
thought I would before today, so it's just
Okay.
going to kind of
25?
Yeah, 1 Samuel 25, and I think like verse 6 or 7, 6, I think.
Ooh, where is that?
Hopefully I'm thinking right. There's a 1 Samuel 25.
And thus you shall greet him, peace be to you, and peace be to your house, and peace be to all that you have.
Yeah.
I hear that you have shears, now that your shepherds have been with us, and we did them no harm, and they missed nothing all the time they were in Carmel. Ask your young men, and they will tell you, therefore let my young men find favor in your eyes, for we come on a feast day. Please give whatever you have at hand to your servants and to your son David.
Yeah. I probably need to explain where
Yeah,
we're
well, I
going.
can preface this a little bit before I just start reading.
So there's this guy, and this guy, we see him in David's story, and so he looks like he has it all together. I'm having trouble thinking of his name. It should be there. Starts with an N. Maybe a couple verses up.
Oh, Nabal.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
I told you it's been a while since I thought of the story.
Yeah.
But basically, when you look at this guy, he looks like he has it all together. He would be someone like in today's world. This article is kind of saying like he lives.
Oh, yeah. I read the article. Well, I read part.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I started it.
Lives in a nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
He's
Has the hot wife, has the cool car.
yeah. I don't think the article said hot wife, but yeah, he has
That's what I got. That's
yeah, he
what I
has
gathered from reading it.
a good wife. He has money.
She knows when to talk and when not to. That was in the article.
Yeah, it
What
was.
not to say.
It was. And he inherited money,
Right.
and he just has a lot of things
Yeah.
going for him. And so when
A lot of things that other people look at and want or
right,
desire.
so the article's called "The Successful and Worthless Husband." It's on Desiring God if you want to
Yeah.
check it out. But basically, like we would look at him from the outside and say, "There is a successful husband."
Right. That's what I want in life.
Where God would look and say, maybe not.
Yeah.
Right? You're
You're a loser.
Yeah, and the article says the
You have the
worthless.
potential to be a loser.
The potential to be a loser. So
This is where I upset people.
you do, but they never come to you. They usually let me know.
I know. I think it's great that they only have your email address.
I think that's great too.
Yep.
Because I probably wouldn't want you responding to him.
no.
So David goes to him, and what you just read, and his men are hungry. David's fleeing King Saul at this
Yep.
time, and he makes the request like, "Hey, I've been good to you. I've been good to your men. Your shepherds were out there. I didn't cause them any harm."
Right.
And so this guy, he's going to respond. You still have your Bible open?
Oh, yeah. What you got?
Read verse 10 and 11. We see how he responds to David when David asks him for
And
some
Nabal
help.
answered David's servants, "Who is David? Who is the son of Jesse? There are many servants these days who are breaking away from their masters. Shall I take my bread and my water and my meat that I have killed for my shearers and give it to men who I do not know where?"
Yeah, so if you read the context of that story, you would know that he definitely knows who David is.
Right.
Even in his response, he
Oh, yeah.
goes, "Who's this son of Jesse?" Well, if you know he's the son of Jesse, you
Who's
know.
RT?
Right.
know?
Yeah. Well, that one may not fly. But he knows who he is. He knows what's going on. And then
Right.
his shepherds actually confirmed, like, no, David was good to us. So the guy's being dumb.
Right.
He's being a fool,
Oh, yeah.
is how Scripture would say it. And so from him, this article goes on. It's like, hey, here's 5 ways we can see how to be a foolish husband.
Okay.
Which I thought was interesting.
I was
Because
talking about this today with my boss, and he's like, "Can I just stand over in the corner and just like raise my hand each time you guys
Yeah.
say something?"
so the first one they put is that he has strength without love.
Okay.
So he's a strong man, like powerful. He's done probably some things right to
Right.
develop this strength and things. He had strength that would probably impress some men and make people feel inadequate. He worked in the field. He had a lot going for him, but he was harsh.
Yeah.
Right. And so he wasn't.
Yeah.
he
Not
didn't.
soft-hearted.
Right. So his strength wasn't the problem. Like some men have a trouble with strength.
Yeah.
And not physical strength, but just strength in general. So he's strong, but he doesn't have love.
Right.
So I find that interesting, like to talk through and think through as men, like, hey, yes, we need to have strength, but then are we doing that with love?
Right. Yep.
Yep.
Next.
Okay. So that one's the second one they put was he has courage without wisdom.
Okay.
So the author goes on, it's like, you can't read a story like this and question his nerve. When the Lord's anointed, which was David, was armed and dangerous, stood in front yard, asked for food for his small army of soldiers. The man sends him away. He's like, who is David? Who is the son of Jesse?
Yeah.
So he's basically like, he has a backbone. So courage isn't his problem.
Right.
Because he's looking for David, who's a warrior,
Yeah.
who has other warriors with him,
Right.
and looks at him like, basically, little man, I don't even know who you are,
Right.
type of thing. And
Yep.
so you can't And guys need courage, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's what's interesting about his story. Is like he has some attributes that guys need.
Yep.
So he seems wise, but then he's foolish on the other side because he's really lacking wisdom in those areas, right?
Right.
So I
Seems
don't
like
know.
most fools are lacking wisdom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all fools, I guess. But I think as guys, we need to know like when to stand our ground, but also when to turn the other cheek,
Yep,
right? So
exactly.
there's like that wisdom piece, like,
Yep.
hey, yeah, I need to stand up for this because this is wrong,
Right.
or like, hey, this isn't a battle I need to fight.
Yeah.
And
We talked
wisdom,
about this before.
we have
Is this the
because
mountain you want to die on?
yeah, and not everything should be
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Like there are mountains to die on.
Right. Yeah. Pick them wisely.
Pick them wisely.
Yeah. Don't pick them with your wife. Um,
Yeah, or I think
pick as
there's
few as possible.
yeah, I think there may be some like even with your wife, like no, this is something we need to do this. Like
Yeah.
I think God's called us to, and maybe
Yep.
it's a disagreement you and your wife are having, but
Right.
man, not everything's worth fighting over,
No
right? It's
kidding.
like, and then I think make sure you're praying and you have the wisdom to move forward in that.
Yep. I agree.
So and have the courage to do it, but this guy, like courage wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
I see this with a lot of guys,
Right.
like they don't mind being courageous.
courageous,
The
yeah.
problem is there's like,
Yeah.
where's your wisdom?
Yeah. They
man?
don't always bring their wisdom when they do it.
No.
No.
They don't. And what I think what I relate to this, like I can relate to this guy's story in some things.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Like there's
Okay.
times like I don't mind like standing my ground on stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't always stand my ground with love.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I get that.
Like when I'm correcting someone or working on something, like no, this is what's right. But do the people know I care about them, right?
Right.
And whatever that may be,
Yep.
right? Or with courage, like let's
Well,
go
maybe
take
people-
that mountain.
Maybe people realize or don't realize that you care about them while you're standing your ground.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing too. Is sometimes like if I have an issue, sometimes I run it by like my wife or a friend or somebody first and say, hey, am I out of line for thinking this way?
Yeah.
And generally they'll tell me, yes
Yeah.
or no.
Yeah, or you're not out of line, but it's your approach, right? Like,
Right, yeah.
you may need to work on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Before you go. Yeah, so
Yep.
that courage without wisdom. The third one, I talked about wealth without generosity.
Yep.
So God allowed him to prosper. He had all kinds of barns. He could feed this small army. When
Right.
David's like, "Hey, could we use a little
Yeah, what did it
food?"
say? He had 2,000 sheep and
Yeah, I think
or whatever.
1,000 goats,
Maybe my numbers are
3,000.
off.
Yeah, a ton of sheep and
Right.
goats, right? So a small army. He's a rich man. And so I think Scripture wants to make sure that we understand, like this guy's wealthy,
Yeah.
and it's not a problem for him to feed him,
Right.
or take care of God's anointed. Yet this fool's basically like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yep.
So I think we can fall into that trap as
Oh
well.
yeah, absolutely. And man, I have a couple friends that are very wealthy but
Yeah.
very generous. And,
Yeah.
it is the best. Just they don't rub it in that they've got money. They don't belittle you if you don't, and they gladly share anything in life with you.
Yeah.
That they enjoy, and I think it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and I think what we learn from this is, we're saying what is a godly husband versus being a fool is that like godly husbands are giving
Right.
of their resources. Of,
Yeah,
of
and it
their
doesn't have to be
time.
money.
No.
It just like you said, resources or just giving of your love and time.
Yeah.
I mean,
But if we're honest, like our money's probably for a lot of us, maybe time is more depending on how you're wired, but our money is one that we really want to hold on to
Yeah.
and maybe not be generous.
for sure.
And we probably never think we're wealthy enough to be generous.
Right. Yeah.
Because I mean, you've probably felt that
Maybe
way. Like,
we just don't.
yeah, like hey, once we
Maybe that's just a us problem.
maybe like once I make a certain amount,
Yeah. I'll be more generous.
I'll be more generous. And I found
But I think
That's not true.
generosity is in the heart. It's not in the numbers game.
No.
If you're a generous person, you'll be generous if you have $2 versus $2 million. I mean,
well, sometimes it gets harder if you're making $2 million because your generosity, you're giving away a lot more than
right.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. So I think it's something to look at, like because I would say most of us men in America are wealthy,
Oh yeah, for sure.
especially compared to the world.
Yeah.
And so even if you don't think you're wealthy, like, are you being generous
Right.
with
Yep.
what you have?
And I think it's more of a heart problem than anything, than a wealth problem or anything else. It's, maybe you want to look into your heart and see if you're a generous person
Yeah.
and see why or why not.
The fourth one the article points out about Nabal is that he had success without gratitude. So he was running a booming company. His stock was rising. His board was well pleased with his profits.
Yep.
By all accounts, this man's career was a wild success, the author says. And this is by all accounts but one. God looked at him and saw his failure.
Yep. Man, you think about too, I read something earlier about that, and it's like so many people see success and forget to pray, forget to thank
Yeah.
God for it. And it's just, people only pray when they're, flat on their back.
Yeah.
And they forget, when things are good, where that came from.
Yeah. I agree. And I think especially with men, it's really easy for us to be super successful at work.
Yep.
For you, like building more houses
Yeah.
and making more money or
Right.
whatever it may be, or you're climbing this corporate ladder or your small business is doing good and you're killing it at
Yep.
your job. But then are you losing everywhere else?
Right.
Right. So
Exactly.
you have success, but are
Yeah.
you grateful for those other things along
How's
the
your
way?
marriage? How's your kids?
Yeah.
How's your home life? How's
Yep.
your church life?
Yeah. Yeah. Karen and I had this talk last night just about kind of my life where
Yeah.
the season I've been in here lately with this, pretty busy and like
Yeah.
just making sure like, hey, have you been taking time to, to help out your friends and some of those like closer in our circle?
The answer's
and,
no.
No, I haven't. I know I don't hang out with them anymore. And, and so I could be, for me, my primary job is, working in the ministry. I could
Yeah.
be killing it in that area
Right.
and seeing massive success. But then am I grateful for all those people and other things around me?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
All the pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then the next one he said was hunger without self-control.
Okay.
He said that he was a man mastered by his cravings. The passion of his flesh waged war on his soul, and his soul all too quickly waved the white flag. So when Abigail came to find him, he was holding a feast in his house like the feast of a king. And he was drunk, Scripture goes on to say. So he had, men outside of war wanting food, and he was in there getting drunk and having a feast himself.
Yep.
So he didn't have self-control.
Right.
Yeah. What?
Nothing. I think this is good.
Yeah, and I think with this, like we can apply this to our lives is that
Oh yeah.
we can really like have this hunger for other things, but not have self-control.
Right.
Where and kind of what we talked about just a few minutes ago, but we're missing out on some of our other responsibilities.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if you are moving up your ladder at work and doing well, but if you're not serving your local church at all,
Right.
if you're not serving other people, like,
Yeah.
man, you got this hunger, but you don't have any self-control to help others.
Yep, exactly.
And so he's like,
It's like
Hey.
you got your eye on the prize and you don't see anything else, kind of like
Yeah.
tunnel vision. Just
yeah,
that's all you got.
yep. And there's that. And I think it comes down to self-control,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So in Titus 2, that's what Paul tells the older Christian men. It's like, hey, you guys need to have self-control. It's one of the things he says is in the church, like you need self-control. And like, yeah, like
Right.
as a man, like,
Yeah.
yep.
I for sure need self-control.
Yeah. 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 So I think
It's also an area in my life that I can work on,
self-control.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. No, just kidding.
Right.
Yeah. So interesting story. I would encourage you guys. I know we briefly touched on it today.
Yeah.
But just go read 1 Samuel 25. Read this story about how his wife interacted with him.
Yep.
Some of those things. But yeah, what's one takeaway you got from today's talk about this?
Archie, I didn't pay any attention.
Oh my goodness, it's like Sunday mornings with you.
I pay attention there.
Oh, okay.
I actually pre-read the chapters for last week's sermon.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's the reason I mention it. 'Cause I just,
Being a better
Yeah.
second row sitter.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, is probably the courage without wisdom.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's something I need like to work on.
Yeah.
And I think it's
You're
something I have
very
to keep in
courageous
mind.
and stupid.
I definitely can be.
I can
Yeah.
be too.
And not think through the
Everything.
effect of it and make
Yep.
sure I'm handling this in a wise way. Because
Yep.
I'm like, no, this is right.
Yeah.
This is wrong. Which is true, right?
Right.
But like wisdom would say, hey, how do I handle this?
Yeah. Yep. And I like being very generous. Thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'll do it one day when I have more money or when I hit this certain milestone. Like, I just enjoy being generous with what I have to
Yeah.
offer now.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, you do a good job at that.
Yep.
All right, so don't forget.
If I could just practice self-control and all the other stuff. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
well, you got 1 out of 5 down. You're doing all
Not
right.
bad. 20%er.
Let's get to passing.
Right.
IncreaseJesus.com
Yeah.
sponsoring us this
Yeah, that's awesome.
year. So yeah, check them out.
Yep.
Their website, tough-10.
Tough
You get a
10
discount
for,
on
discount?
10% off. I think whatever
Yeah.
you buy.
That's awesome. Tough
Yeah.
dash 10.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
All right, man. Next
See
week,
you next time. Oh yeah, don't forget to
like, share,
like it, share,
subscribe,
subscribe.
tell your buddies about it.
Yeah.
All right.
throw it at people.
Yep.
Yeah.
See ya.
See you next time.